Hey, hi, hello. We're gonna be doing a different kind of video today. I wanna start doing more videos like this. I may have said this before, but when I say that, I mean it. And that is just sit down discussion videos. I have done a lot of these videos in the past. They were kind of podcasty format based around a topic that I would talk about with a friend or fellow internet person. But today, as you guys have seen on the title, I want to talk about skateboarding in the Olympics. Recently, I read an article on jankummag.com. If you guys don't know what Jankum is I don't know if they've ever produced print magazines, actually. Anyway, it's a website. It's been around for, I want to say 10 years. I'm not 100% sure though. It's been around for a while, since before I moved to California, which was almost 6 years ago now. They recently did an article on what the hell is up with Olympic skateboarding, and it kind of just breaks it down. And I want to go into detail on this and let you guys know my thoughts on the Olympics, because obviously the Olympics in skateboarding in the Olympics has been a controversial thing since it's been announced, since the idea has been brought up, obviously with the whole corporations entering skateboarding thing. That isn't really much of a controversial thing nowadays with kids growing up getting into skating. It was when I was getting into skating, when P-Rod first went over to Nike and Nike first started branching into skating. With those big corporations entering skateboarding became more mainstream. As a result of that, the Olympics accepted skateboarding as a real thing to put in the Olympics, as a real sport, whatever you want to call it. I like this kind of stuff because I think it is very interesting to look at something controversial. Not even controversial, but just look at something that's that could potentially be maybe groundbreaking or a complete devastating blow, and just pick it apart and analyze it and look at every single perspective, at least as many perspectives as I can think of personally. Basically, they're saying we haven't heard anything about the Olympics. What the hell's going on? We just heard that skateboarding was gonna be in the Olympics. Where is all of the updates and stuff that is going on with it? What is happening? So they get into the format, and so okay, that's a thing. So there's only gonna be men's and women's street, men's and women's park, and that means how the courses are designed. Street is your plaza style skate park, which back in the day that was just called a skate park. And back in the day, I'm meaning when I grew up skating. But when they refer to park, they're meaning more of a tranny-based skate park, kind of like what the Vans Park Series does, what they did with the U.S. Open or Dew Tour. They have just a big bowl that's serves as what they call a skate park. So it is transition. I think that in and of itself right there kind of eliminates vert and eliminates other aspects of skateboarding. So they're breaking it down to the simplest format. So in terms of how you're gonna be able to get into this whole thing, how you're going to be able to get into the Olympics, they're going to be doing a series of tour style contests such as Street League, and I think it says here they're working on another one that serves as a counterpart to Street League in order to skate in these contests and win the events and then proceed eventually to the Olympics. There's this thing called World Skate that's running this whole operation. They're in charge of facilitating how it's all going to work, how they're going to run, I guess, essentially the contests, and what contests are going to be a part of the affiliation with the Olympics to be able to get into the Olympics. As far as that goes, I think that that's really it. I'm curious to know if more contests will become affiliated with the Olympics, depending on how it goes. Okay, so this can go one of two ways. We can dive into this topic in so many different ways. Obviously, you're going to have your Olympic associated type contests and events and tours, and then you're gonna have contests like Tampa Am that have always been the heart and soul of the core skate industry type contests. Now, whether those will become Olympic affiliated or not, that is up for debate. I guess it all just depends on what the Olympics does to skateboarding and how skateboarders react to it. And you can break it up like this because of the generational thing. So I grew up skating around the time that BAM was really big. So we did have, and Tony Hawk was really big, the Tony Hawk games came out. So we did have big skateboard celebrities on television, mainstreaming skateboarding in that manner. Now thinking back on it, there kind of was a lot of divide, being really into what BAM was doing or what Tony Hawk was doing at the time, and then being really into core skating, which was maybe the S Team back in the day, or DVS shoes, if you guys remember DVS. But today, Kids are getting into skating through watching clips on the internet, watching these people with these YouTube channels and watching these kids on Instagram skateboarding, and these people are kind of their own brands themselves. And this will come full circle, so bear with me. I remember reading an interview with P-Rod like years ago, and how he was talking, this was around the time like either right before or right when he was starting Primitive as like a board brand and like what Primitive is now. He was saying pretty soon you will see kids and people and individuals as brands themselves and no longer companies carrying people up to being a skate celebrity, if you will. A good example of this is somebody like, it's somebody like any of the Revive dudes, John Hill, Andy Schrock, but you can also say people like Roy Purdy. And it's crazy because Roy Purdy is actually very, very good at skating. And he's kind of built a brand for himself, around himself. He does many other things. He makes YouTube content, he makes Instagram content. He's a musical artist, but he skates too. So he's kind of built this brand around himself that's affiliated with all of that, and he doesn't really, I don't know Roy personally, but I'm just saying he's not like locked into the skating thing. He's not locked into, this is what I am, this is my identity, but he has a brand around it. So, and he doesn't need a company to elevate his brand or to push him up higher because he himself is doing that through his own brand. Kids are getting into skating, seeing people like Roy and seeing people like that. So their values are different than the values that I grew up with in skateboarding or that previous generations grew up with in skateboarding. They're not concerned with a lot of the same stuff that I was concerned with, or that John was concerned with getting into skating, or a lot of the pros that you see now were concerned with when they got into skating. And that is the future generation. So their values and their concerns are going to be different, and that will inevitably shape skateboarding. Skateboarding is very youth driven, obviously, and then so if you have those kids and they have the approval of the Olympics and of something like this going on, then it's not, it could turn out in a way where it's like massively successful and skateboarding just takes on a whole new level of mainstream, or there's the counterpart where it could completely kill skateboarding in the sense that skateboarding loses the little minor details and things that have always made skateboarding. A lot of people like to romanticize on that, myself included. So I was skating the other day and this kid comes up to us. I'm gonna keep it very vague. We're just out skating. He comes up, says he can skate. He's like fascinated by like what we're doing, it seems like. And then he starts name dropping some people and he starts telling us that he skates, and he's kind of like flexing on us on his skate knowledge. It was just weird because like we're there actually skating, we're out street skating, and this kid comes up seemingly flexing on us about our skate knowledge. And you see that kind of stuff happen in other, I guess, sports, if you will, other things that are way more mainstream than skateboarding. So I guess that's a concern right there, seeing those little minor details, how it will affect skateboarding in that way. Because, and not to get too romantic and nostalgic about certain things about skateboarding, because I do think there are things that like are really cool and special about skateboarding, although a lot of that can seemingly very easily become very cheesy. Those things are definitely what drew me into skateboarding. Like, skateboarding is going to have to adapt with like modern society. It's gonna have to, or else it won't survive. Some people would rather see it die than pursue into whatever modern way that it might turn into. Or how the Olympics could affect skateboarding in a very negative way or in a very awesome way. Because not only skateboarding is changing, the rest of the world is constantly changing and adapting to its environment and adapting to new technology and adapting to the internet. And if skateboarding wants to survive, it's going to have to do that. In any case, my point here is skateboarding being in the Olympics is going to have some effects on skateboarding, and it's either going to be really negative or it's going to be extremely positive, depending on your perspective on the issue. There's always going to be the little niches in skateboarding that hold specific values dear to their hearts that other niches of skateboarding could care less about. Either way, as long as skateboarding keeps going, I'm happy. That's all I care about. I'm willing to adapt with the changes, with whatever those are, if that happens. Personally, my own takeaway from this, or my own opinion on this, is that I don't really see it as skateboarding losing values for it to having to adapt to like the modernization of it. Skateboarding started in the 60s, 70s, very long time ago, and I mean, it's evolved since then. It was one thing with small surfy looking boards. There's a vacuum in the hallway. I know that sounds annoying. It should be done soon. Then they evolved to bigger, wider shaped boards in the 80s and early 90s, and then became the popsicle boards that they are now. So skateboarding has went through several changes since then, and I mean, it's going to continue to do that with things like the Olympics. Now, I think it could either become a complete sport with full of jocks, and it'll lose the complete artistic creativity in skateboarding. That's worst case scenario for people that believe in the artistic side of skateboarding more than the competitive side of skateboarding. Or it can just make skateboarding so much bigger and just get more and more people into it, which is good, but also with that good comes with the bad, obviously, too. I'm hopeful that skateboarding will always hold certain values dear to it because it has this far and it's been around for a long time. And I feel that, as far as I know, I mean, I wasn't around in the 70s, so I don't know how it was then, but skating and surf culture have always been intertwined, and I feel like there's stuff that's still to this day very similar about the two, and I think it will always stay that way by the type of people maybe that are drawn to it. It's skateboarding's kind of always been like an inner city urban hip hop and punk rock kind of thing, which is kind of weird when you think about it. Look at it as like it's a punk rock subculture and a hip hop subculture, and it's weird because you see what's going on in hip hop now, and this is just me creating bridges to things like unnecessarily, maybe unnecessarily, but it's interesting to think about. Hip hop now kind of is the new punk rock, and some people may disagree with that because I know there's a lot of people that hate the SoundCloud thing. But if you look at it, like, these kids' parents are listening to Joy Division and Modest Mouse. That's what we listen to rebel against our parents. So like, they need something to rebel against, you know? So they're listening to stuff that everybody hates now. When we were younger, everyone was hating what we were listening to. It's just a continuous cycle. It's not different. It's very similar. I just want to point out like how skateboarding is changing yet staying the same. A lot of times when I pick my brain and when I pick ideas apart, it goes all over the place, but it all kind of centers around one idea, and that is, I think here, change, but it's also similar. It's just kind of like the whole history repeating itself kind of thing. But each time that it repeats itself, it evolves a little by little each time. Okay, so let's go down this list some more. The judges for the Olympics are going to be certified people who know about skateboarding, like pros and judges from Street League and like certified contests. Certified meaning certified by World Skate. Now, a bunch of people are a part of this. So skateboarding has been added to World Skate, which is they're an organization that has like hockey's included in it. Okay, so I didn't even know this. I had no idea what this was because I don't roller freestyle, roller derby, inline hockey, rink hockey, inline freestyle, inline downhill. Okay, so it's just been added to this. I'm trying to see what I can find. I would imagine that they're gonna employ like real skateboarders and real people that know about skateboarding, obviously, to judge this thing, so that it's not like some guy that doesn't know anything about skating. I mean, why the hell would they do that? That's not going to benefit anything. Obviously, they're going to test for steroids and any kind of drugs related. I feel like that's very obvious. The one thing that I do find interesting is that you're not going to be able to wear like your clothing sponsors, which like they have uniforms for every Olympic sport. So like skateboarding is going to get that as well. But like the only place where they're not going to interfere with that is on shoes, which makes perfect sense because it's equipment. So they're gonna have like things labeled as certified equipment. Skateboards, wheels, trucks, bearings, deck. So it says here, contributions to skating. How is like the Olympics gonna contribute to skateboarding as a whole? Here it says, with government funding for skateboarding turned on and in hundreds of countries worldwide, World Skate is working with the National Olympic Committee and national governing bodies to make sure the skate parks they build will be unique, well-designed, and well-built. Actually, that doesn't tell me much. Does that mean, are they talking about the course? Or are they talking about like donating skate parks to places? I don't really know. It doesn't really say a lot. But yeah, I don't really think there's too much pushback anymore. At least I don't see it, but that could be the circles that I'm involved in. I'm not really super involved in like the super core artsy niches of skating anymore, although that is like where I initially come from in skating. That's what I gravitate towards in skating. I don't really see a lot of pushback on my end. There might be. If you guys, let me know in the comments below how you guys feel about this sort of thing. I know in certain areas people are gonna think that this is like so stupid and so dumb, which is like totally fine. Everyone has their reasons for why they feel the way that they do. I don't really think I have a fully developed opinion on it. I mean, so far I think it's fine. Like, I don't think that this is like gonna be bad for skating in any way. I don't think we're gonna really know. Like, we're not gonna really know what this is gonna do to skating until it happens, and I think things are gonna happen that we can't really think of right now, because not only when the Olympics take off, but they're just gonna do like one round. Is it gonna be in the next Olympics? Is it gonna be in the one after that? So like, we're gonna have to see the effects as they unfold with how technology unfolds as well, because the Olympics are, what, every 4 years, every 4 or 8 years? I don't even know. I don't watch the Olympics, but I mean, I'm probably going to start watching it now since this is going to be in it. We won't know until it happens. I guess the biggest fear of this is just making skateboarding so mainstream. Like, a lot of skateboarders that have this fear of skateboarding becoming so mainstream, they don't want to see it turned into like a regular sport. With all of the corporations that have come into skating, I don't really think it has any more than skateboarding has already been a sport. It's always been a sport, but people pride themselves in skateboarding not being a sport because it doesn't involve a ball or an organized team, and when I say team, I mean like a team working together on a field. From a lot of the interviews that I've read from like older pros, like they all speak about skateboarding and how there's always been jocks and sportsy competitive attitudes in skating. That's nothing new, and people like to think that that's something new now with skateboarding going mainstream. I don't think that's made skateboarding any more sporty or any more jockey than it always has been. I think it's just kids are just getting better. I think the bar's just getting raised and you're just seeing a lot more content. Therefore, it's just being oversaturated. Like, video parts don't have as much of an impact anymore. Stuff like that. And that's all due with the internet. I don't think the Olympics is going to have that effect. Like, it might make contests more relevant. I mean, contests are relevant when it comes to like street league. I didn't grow up particularly liking or skating in contests, mostly because I tend to choke up and I end up skating like shit, so it's not really my forte. Yeah, if anything, I think it's just gonna make skateboarding more widespread and kids are just gonna end up like being really fucking good at skating. It's just gonna get crazier and crazier and crazier, and it's gonna get more technical and new tricks are gonna arise. People are gonna start doing more like weird shit that you see on Instagram now. Certain tricks become popular, certain ways to skate become popular for a certain duration of time, whether that's a long time or a short period of time. But yeah, I think that that's it. I think I've covered enough. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm always down to have these kinds of conversations because it's fun to talk about this kind of stuff, so I do like to read the comments and respond to them. So please leave one and let me know how you feel about this. But with that being said, I guess that's it. That's the end of the video. All slamming items are in the description below. You can check that link down there. I'm going to be taking all of the items off very soon because a lot of them are going quickly. They're like sold out. We're gonna need to take those off soon and get the new stuff rolling out sometime in September. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm also too, you guys, I don't talk about this. I haven't talked about this since I made a video about it. I made a slamming channel. That channel's always in the description, so go check that out. The zine, the photo book that I'm making, finally. I have all the photos sent over. I'm just waiting on the cover. I'm gonna post the pre-order very soon, hopefully like next week. So it's like coming very soon. That's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.